I lived alone in a small house in New Zealand, far away from the biggest region, Auckland. This all happened around 6.5 years ago, so some parts may be altered as I can't vividly remember this instant, when quite frankly, I should. This was one of the scariest incidents that have ever occurred in my lifetime, even until now. It all started one morning when I decided to open my front door and go buy groceries I'd forgotten to purchase the day before. Instead, I found the strangest thing waiting for me outside. Lying in the center of my doorstep was a small USB flash drive. At first, I was confused and took a second to look around if anyone was pranking me. You know how teens are these days, I thought. But when the outside of my house was dead silent, the questions began to flood through my head. Who put that there? Was the obvious first thought. It was just a generic USB stick, no label or anything. I would imagine no one would waste their time walking up to my house, placing it on my doorstep, but exactly that had just happened. There was no way to know where it came from, or who dropped it, or if they purposely did so for the sole purpose of someone curious enough and lacking common sense to plug it in. Well, I did exactly what I thought anyone else would have done. I took it inside and thought it would be a smart idea to plug it into my computer. The device was full of pictures. In fact, nothing but pictures. Dozens of them filling every tiny space that USB could hold. I then opened the first picture and clicked through all of them in order. The first few were just shots from around town. General places that I recognized and passed through sometimes when I was taking my morning stroll around the park. The fourth image was taken in our town's busiest street. In the image, the street was full of people, but there was somebody in that photo that caught my attention immediately. Me. The image showed me amongst the crowd, just minding my own business buying groceries for my barbecue a day ago. Well, at first I thought, this was a small town. Was it just a coincidence I was in the picture? The fifth image had been taken on the same day. Again, it was in our town, and again, I was in it. The photographer was closer to me this time. A little too close, I thought. Whoever had been taking these pictures of me, I hadn't noticed them at all that day. Next came several more pictures of me, in various locations around town. Then something more chilling. A photo of a house. My house. It was nighttime in that image, and the living room light was on. I clicked through it to the next, and it was another picture of my house, this time taken even closer. Through the living room window, you could see me sitting on the couch on my phone. I could tell from the clothes I was wearing that it was taken the night before, right after I'd taken a shower. I had no idea that someone had been outside watching me. I kept clicking through the images on the drive, and photo after photo of me inside my house taken from just outside my window. After 20 or so pictures of me just inside my house, there came a real curveball. An image had been taken inside of my hallway. The man or woman or whoever was taking these pictures of me had been inside my house the night before. There were photos of my living room, now lightless and empty, obviously taken after I had gone to sleep. Photos of my kitchen, of my dining area, my stairwell, and several taken as the unknown figure ascended my stairs towards where I was sleeping. My brain started to run wild with thoughts about who had been following me. Had I wronged someone in the past? Said something to the wrong guy? Was this just some weirdo who decided to target me? Were they armed when they came to pay me a visit? Whatever the case may be, somebody had come inside of my house at night, taken pictures of all my rooms, including my bedroom. The second to last picture was of me, fast asleep in bed, totally oblivious to the person in my home. The final image was just a handwritten note framed in close-up. The message read simply, "Never hide a spare key under your doormat. I have since moved homes." I recently moved into a new apartment with my partner, who works away for long periods of time. An older man about 50 years old started to become friendly with me, knowing I was new to the complex. I made the mistake of telling him I live with my partner and that he's away at work for a while. Almost every day after that, he came knocking on my door and waiting if I didn't answer. He would usually leave after about 5 minutes of knocking with no answer. One time, I was out in the common grass area playing with my 2-year-old brother that I would occasionally have over. I saw him coming up my way and quickly picked up my brother. The man started making conversation, asking about my brother, and at that point, tried to grab him out of my arms. I held on to my brother tight and pulled away as he started to cry, but I made the excuse that I had to go feed him and walked away. And that was definitely the last time I'd ever let that man near my brother. But I'm extremely bad with confrontation, as you can tell. A few days later, I heard a knock at my door and opened it without thinking. He walked straight past me into my apartment without saying a single word, just smiling. I asked him if he was doing okay, and he just replied, "I'm good, just wanted to see what your place looked like from the inside." He started walking into every room, checking all of my windows. Eventually, he commented, so all your windows have bars on them except for the bathroom." I laughed nervously and said, "Yeah, I guess." I didn't know what to do, so I walked out into the front garden, hoping he would try to follow me out. I just wanted him out, and I was scared to anger him as I could tell he didn't seem like he was right in the head. That night, while I was hanging my clothes, another neighbor introduced herself. I told her what had been happening with that man, and asked him if she knew him. Apparently, he had been doing the exact same things to her. She told her partner that this creepy neighbor was doing the same thing to a younger girl, which was me, and I guess that was his last straw. He ended up going up and talking to this older man. After that, the old man only tried one more time to knock on my front door, but since then, I haven't heard anything since, and haven't even seen him around. Sometimes I do wake up at night panicking, thinking he's planning on doing something to me.